This is Just in Case of American Newscape, joining our friends Janice Lynn and Tammany McDaniel. Tammany is the executive director of the Quilts of Valor Foundation, an organization dedicated to service members and veterans. They are showing their gratitude and valuing the contribution to our freedoms. Welcome back, Janice. Greetings, Tammany. Welcome to American Newscape.
Hi. Hi, Justin. Justin.
Hey, let's get this kicked off. Tammany, could you please give us an overview of the Quilts of Valor program and foundation?
Sure, thanks for asking. In 2003, a Blue Star mom, and that is a person who has a child in one of our military branches under active service, said that she was 10 seconds away from panic the entire time her son was deployed. Our founder, Catherine Roberts, woke in the middle of the night, often having dreadful fears about what was happening to her son. She dreamt that he was lonely and alone. She saw him in the desert with no way to be comforted, and the things that he had grown up from a loving mother. The only thing she knew to do was to take to her sewing machine and her quilting machine and begin making, at that time, what she called quilts for soldiers, which became Quilts of Valor. Through some friendships that she had, she and her friends made 300 Quilts of Valor and took them to what was then Walter Reed. 150 of them were awarded to combat veterans who'd been wounded, and 150 were awarded to those returning that were suffering from emotional and mental anguish over what they'd seen or experienced or had to do. Through that, the Quilts of Valor Foundation over the last 17 years has grown from those 300 quilts to over 250,000 quilts awarded today. So 250,000 quilts. We're on our way to 300,000. And each of those includes an award ceremony thanking the service member and the veteran for their service to our nation. We have over 10,000 members, 600 groups across the nation, and I'm just constantly awed by the work that they do. Leading this organization has been transforming for me because I get to see these people give love, creativity, and comfort. And I also get to see that we're actually changing the lives of those who've been touched by war.
You know, Tammany, that's a beautiful, beautiful representation of the organization. You know, a lot of us get up in the morning and we have that need to make a difference in the world. And you're actually making a difference, and your organization is making a difference with hundreds of thousands of people every day. Plus, you're encouraging us to do that so as well. Now, for our fans, Janice Lynn has stopped by. And Janice, as you remember, was the Hallmark writer of the best-selling book. I'll call it best-selling because I love the book, Wrapped in Christmas Joy. Janice, why are you here today?
Hi, Justin. So I am a Blue Star mom. My son is in the Army National Guard. And I'm a quilter, so when he decided that he was going to join the Army, I wanted to make a quilt for him. And so I started looking at different patriotic quilt patterns and different things online, and I kept seeing Quilt of Valor, QOV, Quilts of Valor Foundation. And coincidentally, a few months before that, I had my son enlisted in November, and I sold to Hallmark in September. And my story featured a patriotic quilt at the time. And my storyline fit so well in with Quilt of Valor's mission that when I read about what they were, I started reaching out, and I ended up eventually getting passed up to Tammany, and absolutely love her because we were able to incorporate Quilts of Valor into my story so that rather than it being a patriotic quilt generically, it could bring attention to the Quilt of Valor Foundation and to let people know about this amazing, amazing organization and what they're doing and all these amazing volunteers and how they reach out in the world. I have been so blessed by the ones that I have got to meet, either online or in person, just by their giving spirit. It's even like with COVID earlier this year, it was amazing to me how many stopped quilting and started making masks, and we're shipping masks out to people and delivering masks to hospitals, and just their generosity and how they want to help people and make the world a better place. It's how I feel like the members of this organization are how the world is supposed to be and how we're all supposed to be, and to help others and want to make everybody healthier and happier and to feel loved. So,
Well, Janice, if we could afford Vanna White right now, she would be behind you, pointing at the quilt.
she might be drying my eyes. I kind of got choked up on that a little bit. Like, whoa.
Could you tell us about the quilt that's right behind you, Janice?
So the quilt right behind me is one that I'm working on. I have completed 2 Quilts of Valor that I've done complete from start to finish. I have done a party earlier this year when we could still all get together and sew with a church ladies class, and to where we all I brought little kits that I had put together where I had bought material and cut material up, and we did block parties because Quilt of Valor does a block drive every year. A lot of people don't feel like they are to where they could make an entire quilt. It's kind of overwhelming how long it could take an entire quilt, but a lot of people would be willing to make a block, and a block can be like 9 squares of fabric that you sew together that can then be donated and sent into Quilt of Valor, and someone else can put it all together and make the quilt, and different people volunteer on those different steps of that process. So I held a block party so that I could bring a lot of volunteers together to make different squares or different blocks, and then we all got back together and we sewed those together, all our individual blocks together, and we put it together, and then I sandwiched it, which is the middle part and the back of the quilt. I quilted it and then I handed it off to somebody else and they bound it up. And that was a 3rd quilt that I actually very recently got to award to a 97-year-old veteran of World War II who was shot down over Romania and ended up being a prisoner of war in Germany for 6 months in 1944. So that was probably the coolest thing I've ever done. I mean, it was just such an amazing, amazing feeling to present him that quilt and to think about everything that he had done in his life and just how happy and positive and smiley he was, and just the cutest little person ever. So I told him someday he's going to end up in a book because he just was amazing. I'm like, I can't imagine any person being more heroic than our veterans and our soldiers, our military. It's just amazing what they sacrifice, what their families sacrifice.
Yeah, and they're young men. I mean, they're young men with the vast majority of their lives before them.
Young men and young women.
Exactly.
So when I was there presenting that quilt, it was inside the Veterans Building in the town where I live, and it was amazing to me. They had a Vietnam War display that had a toy soldier, where they had done a toy soldier drive, and it had a toy soldier for every soldier who was killed in Vietnam in this huge display. And there were 8 pink ones, and I was like, what are those pink ones in there for? But those were the 8 nurses who were killed in Vietnam, and so there were women too. So I'm gonna throw that in there. That's
no, as they should be in there. And there were women killed in World War II and World War One. I'll never experience this, but I assume when you're together working on a quilt with a group, it's nothing but love and laughs and I don't want to use the word fellowship, but that must be a remarkable experience.
Absolutely. It was amazing to get together with those women. I've done one at my house where I had several people to come over to. I have a top. It's not that particular quilt behind me, but I have another top that we put together that is also waiting on me to get quilted. I just don't have as much time as I have passion to do things. So it's a step process. But then with Quilts of Valor, you also don't have to do every step yourself. You can, as I say, you can make a block, you can make an entire top, you can volunteer to do the quilting. There's so many different steps that can be done with this organization that you really don't have to. I don't even think you have to be a quilter. I think you can be a supporter. You can be somebody who donates to the organization, or somebody somebody who helps to get the word out. I like to think that's one of my roles. I am a Blue Star mom. I am a quilter, so I like to do that. But I feel like probably my biggest role is hopefully an advocate to bring attention and to get the word out about this amazing organization.
Okay.
If I could jump in,
Sure.
I don't want to go off script, but between the 10,000 members, some belong to what we call the Long Army, which is our volunteers who long arm quilts, and some belong to the block builders, which they make blocks, they send them in. We had over 20,000 blocks submitted in the prior year, and we have a team that does kit cutting, and anyone that's familiar with kits or quilting is we'll buy 15 bolts of a same fabric run, take one pattern and make 200 kits out of it, or whatever we're able to get out of it. We ship those for free to members that are willing to quilt for a soldier who hasn't been awarded yet because maybe there isn't a group in the local area where that person lives. We're just now exploring our own fabric line so that we can bring fabric at cost to our members, although we're very grateful to every fabric manufacturer out there that they all contribute, manufacture. The patriotic lines they feature are wonderful. She's right. The sew days are a lot of fun. I've been to several, and it's food and I fellowship and a time to get together, and you don't have to know how to sew. So thank you.
Thank you. The volunteers, as you speak of, the members, they're actually the foundation of this organization. They're what makes it all work. Could you speak just a touch to them, Tammany?
So I can't ever express how grateful I am to the 10,000 people that are members and the 17,000 people that are followers and subscribers. There are 3 paid staff. We are administrators. We have an accountant, we have an administrator, and we have me. And I've never made a quilt in my life. I consider myself a waymaker. That my job, I was just in a board meeting discussing the role that the board and the executive staff have. And one of the most important things was, how do I put tools in their hands, provide them with means to fabric, inspire them and encourage them. And we were talking about a gratitude and thanks program where all 10,000 members every year have some contact with one level of our board or our staff that's positive. I refuse to let it be unaccomplishable. It's going to get done. We were mapping the plan out. We want it to be genuine, but there's a lot going on. And frankly, the foundation only exists to ensure that the trademark is protected, that the IRS is satisfied, that we at any given time we have about $1.2 million in the bank, and mostly about $1 million of it belongs to our 600 groups. They raise their funds, they get their fabric, they hold their sew days. What little that we bring in is mainly to support what they do.
Wow. Now you have something very important coming up. Can we touch on November 7th, which is a historic day, and you have a virtual 5K going on, an inaugural 5K.
Yes. And Janice is going to walk. I've been walking. Some of the great things about the run are you can do it in increments, and you don't have to get out there and actually pound the pavement. I actually sent out a message to the members 2 days ago and said, do it on your Peloton, do it on your Nordic track, do it on your treadmill, walk down the hall, whatever you would like to do. But this is one of the ways that our board is seeking to support some of the things that we need. While we try very hard to meet the needs of the members, the organization itself, trying to run a database of over 250,000 awarded veterans, the mechanisms that we use to track what we call our nominations, the financial banking that goes on with having 600 sub-accounts and ensuring that the IRS is satisfied with that. So this is an exciting thing for us. It's something that, if it's successful, can help us with a few glitches that we've had. Some of our recent challenges have been some membership software issues where it's difficult to rejoin. Well, that's a problem, and we want to fix that. Janice, want to tell us, what are you doing on that day?
So hopefully the weather will cooperate, and I will be walking the 5K. I'm not a runner, but I did my first 5K earlier this year. I've never done one before, and I had thought, oh, that's a bucket list thing. I want to do a 5K, and so but I walked it. I had joked that I would come in very last place, and anybody who didn't think that they could do a 5K could hang out in the back with me. And I truly did come in the last place. I let the others walk right in front of me that had walked with me, and so that I could come in last place, just like what I said I was going to do, because I don't think there's any embarrassment in that. I think it's okay. I got out there and I did that. And I think that's in life. Sometimes we feel like, oh, we can't come in last place, so we can't do anything. And so I walked it. I had some wonderful ladies that walked it with me, and we had a lot of fun. And so that's what I'm hoping for with this as well. I'm going to get out, I'm going to walk it, and I'm going to have a whole lot of fun while I do it, and hopefully be able to get some people to walk with me.
Let me interject here. And this is not authorized. It's not an authorized statement. It's not a statement from the organization. But if to participate in this event, and if you think about how symbolic and important the event is, and I authorize anybody out there that's going to participate, drive around the block. That's 5K. Get on your bicycle. That's 5K.
I like your thinking.
Yes.
Sit at the table with your best friend, drink wine, drink coffee, talk about how you would walk a 5K if you were indeed walking a 5K. Right. And then imagine, see yourself walking that 5K, and that qualifies. Right. And if anybody has any objection to that, I invite them to contact me directly. But this is a wonderful cause, and it's neat to see. We have been involved in some virtual events, and they're remarkable. And there is a spirit of camaraderie, and there is a spirit of participation, and I think we all need that from time to time.
Especially right now. I think we're missing that. A lot of people are missing that camaraderie. So.
Well, yeah, of course. Social distancing at the coffee table. It's always important.
Right. Yep.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Now I've digressed. And do you ladies have any other thoughts you care to share with us today?
I'm very grateful for this opportunity. Thank you for your time and giving us the opportunity to speak to your contacts. And obviously, from the minute that Janice called, and I'll just close with this, I was on the job as the ED for the first time in my life, which is something I've been working towards since 2003. And I got a call from some lady who claimed she was from Hallmark. And I'm looking at my new boss, the board president, and I'm like, I don't know, I'm calling her back. And from there sprang just joy in my heart that this author cared, and everything that Janice has done since I've met her has just been so joyful. I mean, she's just
joyful right now.
I know. You're making me cry. Well, we have so many people that are coming to the table. I think we're just becoming where people are really starting to know.
Yeah, Tammany, I think we're getting some interference on your connection, but we'll be all right. Tammany, I agree. And I would speak to you. I would never want Janice to hear this. She's a remarkable lady, and if you think about what she's doing, and the fact,
Well,
and I pick on her. I met Janice through a press release that she sent out, and I, like you, had trouble believing that there was a person out there that was walking this walk and talking this talk, but indeed she is. And for
yeah,
those that know her and do not tell her I said this, it is a blessing. And
yeah.
okay, now we'll get now.
I'm self-serving. I am a Blue Star mom myself. I mean, this affects my son. This affects he had his first deployment earlier this year, and so there is some self-serving part to this too. This is my child that's out there as well, and so I'm so amazed and so thankful, and I think about all the moms. There's an organization called Military Moms out there too, and it's your baby that's out there. And so you want to wrap them up and hold them as tight to you as what you possibly can, which is what I think a lot of this, organization is that, hey, we love you. We want to reach out to you and protect you and to know that we care. So.
Indeed.
Right.
Hey, this is a great
Yeah.
place to close. This has been Justin
Okay.
Case, Janice Lynn, and Tammany McDaniel sharing some insight into Quilts of Valor. Thanks for joining us. Remember, additional information and links are provided in this video's Read More. Links to Janice's book, links to Quilts of Valor, links to the 5K. Please be sure to subscribe to this channel to stay connected, and please connect with Quilts of Valor Foundation and to make time to read Janice's book, Wrapped Up in Christmas Joy.
Yes.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank